Welcome back to the Anxious Tradeswoman podcast, where I, your host, Louise, as a party, share with you what I've learned through the years, through the tears, so you don't have to. So, this is episode 18, and we are talking about the concept, this concept that I made up. I might have heard it from somewhere, but I'm pretty sure I made it up, that you are 50% of every relationship you're in. Now, when we talk relationships, we generally automatically think romantic relationships. But this goes for every human reaction, human interaction that you are involved in. So we're talking co-workers, bosses, acquaintances, family, friends, and intimate partners, anything, the parts person. I don't know why I singled out the parts person, but anyway. So you're 50% of every relationship. And so it's kind of like, not quite the same as be treated the way you want to be treated. And depending on what the situation is with the relationship, you want to use this in different ways. So, in romantic relationship and friendship relationships and any other relationship, but mostly in those ones, you're happy to give a little bit more sometimes. You're happy to give 80% if the person can only give 20%. And then you bounce back and forward. Trust me, some people have been giving me their 80% and I've only been giving 20% recently. I've needed that. So, but let's think to workplace relationships. Sometimes that does happen. Sometimes you have a coworker who's sick or is distracted by something. So you might do 60 or 70% of the work in that relationship and you might give the other person a break for a few days. But when we are interacting with everyone, we are doing our 50% and the other person should be doing their 50%. So when someone isn't doing their 50% or 40% or any percent, these are kind of the people that I was watching Indian Matchmaker last night and they called them energy vampires. So these people, they're the ones that give 0 to 10% and then they suck all your energy because you're giving like 90%, 100% to the relationship. So we've got our energy vampires. So say if there's someone at work who doesn't talk to you, it is, you do your 50% of the relationship, and if they don't give anything back to you, you don't have to fill in their 50%. You don't have to. You can if you want to, but you don't have to. But then other people interact with you as well. So it's kind of like this bouncing backwards and forwards. And I was speaking about this in the concept. One of my lovely clients was struggling to, make friends, kind of fit in at work. And she was pretty much automatically doing 90% of the relationship, being, she's very excitable, all that kind of thing. But we brought up this concept, you're 50%. You're 50%, they're 50%. You don't have to fill in their 50%. And, once you get, I don't know if this podcast is going to make any sense, but when I was talking about it with this client, it made perfect sense, and I was like, everyone needs to know about this. But hang with me. I think, if you're in this situation and this is valuable for you, it will make sense. So when you're talking to your boss, you give your 50% and they give their 50%. And, if your boss is, say, unwell or you're unwell, then they might give a bit more at some times and you'll give a bit less. But we want to make sure that we're not always in the 80% or the 90%, because that's when we start to exhaust ourselves. That's when we start to push onto other people. And sometimes we can feel people do it to us when you're giving very little because you don't want very much back in return. You might be exhausted and you're like, hey, how you doing? And they're like, hey, I'm fine. How are you? Da, 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 da. That kind of thing. And you're like, wow, dude, wow, too much. We are down at this level. And I'm actually going to do another next episode about kind of matching people's energy as well. But when we are living constantly too far out of that 50-50, that's when these relationships become off balance. That's when it can feel like you're always compensating for your co-workers. That's when you feel like you're always doing the stuff for the boss. Or when you feel like someone is forcing themselves on you. So this is kind of where we want to either first check in with ourselves. We want to be like, okay, realistically, what is happening here now? I feel like I'm giving a lot, but do I need to give a lot? In this situation, do I need to and do I want to give this much energy? There are two things you can start with. And then if you're going to move on to, okay, I need this relationship to work because I want it to. I have to because I'm at work with them. Even though I don't, it feels like I have to because I see them every day and I want the relationship to be okay. You can go back to the things in episode 15 about asking for what you need, and episode 9, difficult conversations. But you can, if you're giving a lot of energy, you can say like, hey, are you okay? I feel like I'm doing a bit more of the work here. Like, do you want to be left alone? Those kind of conversations can come up. But it's just more like using it as a gauge. If you end up feeling exhausted and overwhelmed at the end of the day and you're like, what is going on? Check this. Check if you are being 80% of every relationship that you're in. Because you deserve, 50-50, and you deserve people to, sometimes do the 80 for you. That's how I've found most relationships work best. Workplace and out of the workplace. Keep it as close as the 50-50 as you can. And, it teeters-totters every now and then. But if it's living in that, you're giving 80% or they're giving 80%, then it might be time to have a conversation about that. And the reason why I bring this up in this context of tradeswomen, tradies, especially for tradeswomen, like sometimes it can feel like we're pushing into the workplace. We're trying to break in to it, or people might be giving us the cold shoulder, or we're really trying to prove ourselves over and over and over again. We want to check in. Do we want to be giving that much energy? How much energy are we giving? And do we want to be giving that much? If this is something you'd like help or support with, because I know it's very individual, and because I didn't use a very specific example, I apologize if it does not make too much sense. But if you feel like you're giving a lot of energy and you want to kind of work out where you're at, please, you can join my free Facebook community, Tradeswomen Owning Their Power, or if you would want one-on-one support with this, if you would like one-on-one support with this, you can inquire through my website, louiseasaparty.com. You can send me a DM as well. And if you're a business wanting to make the workplace better for tradeswomen and minorities, you can inquire through my website, louiseasaparty.com. And this episode's sponsor is Shewear. So Shewear, they design safety work boots, and they're designed by women to fit and look good on women. I don't have my feet in the video recording of this, but if you check me out on Instagram, I'm usually always wearing a pair of Shewear work boots, sneakers, dress boots, you name it. I think I've got like at least one from every one of their range. I got their gum boots too. They're amazing. They're women-owned, Australian-based, so, what's not to love? But they also, on their website, they have a wide range of workwear, so pretty much a lot of different workwear brands on one site, so you can compare and look at them all in one spot. I've got a link in the show notes if you would like to get them, or have a look at their website and support this podcast in the process. So thank you, everyone, for listening along. And if you've made it this far, I'm assuming you got value out of it. So please, if you can, share this episode on your social media, in your stories. Tag us in there. We want to get this podcast into the ears of as many people as we possibly can. So please share it around, and I will see you in the next episode.